Welcome to the Masters Grand Prix interview room. Today we're going to go on a slightly different subject today, as the guy that I'm interviewing today is the M35 World and European Champion, as well as setting UK records and a holder of world records. But he had some devastating news back in November 2019. I'm going to introduce you to Rick Beardsell over in Manchester there, and we're going to go through his story today. So over to you, Rick Beardsell.
Hi there, Darren. Yeah, thank you for inviting me for this interview room. So back in November, unfortunately I got diagnosed with testicular cancer. It was a huge blow for me at the time. I was just devastated. And I mean, I guess it's probably quite important for me to say that guys and girls, you should check yourselves, because I mean, myself, I consider to be as fit as a fiddle, but if it can happen to me, indeed it can happen to anyone.
Yep,
so
definitely.
let's first and foremost say, people do check yourself. You shouldn't be embarrassed about it. You are looking for your testicles to feel sort of smooth, no major lumps, things like that. And I guess guys don't talk about it enough. So first of all, people should be checking themselves, and if I can ask all the guys out there that are watching this to do so, don't be embarrassed about it. Do check yourself, and if there is anything abnormal, go and get yourself sorted.
Yes, it was a good point there, Rick, because I find most men, we just don't go and see our GPs or anything, do we? We're all like, oh, we'll be all right and all that. And I think that's men's attitude in general, whereas I think women have a tendency to be a little bit better than men. But yeah, a great shout out there. We must, if any issues, we must go and get checked out. And as you say, don't be embarrassed. So how have you actually coped? I know you found out in November. So what's it been like going forward? Obviously, you had the devastating news. So how did you cope with that going forward?
Well, I mean, I'll run you through sort of what happened so you can sort of get an idea about it. So I was just in bed with my son, just trying to get him to sleep. He's only a toddler. And as I was repositioning him laying on top of me, my left hand touched my testicle, and I was like, whoa, that doesn't feel right. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning, trying to sort it out. And then my brother recently just got cured of himself. So I was very quick, like, I need to act upon this. And then that same day I was like, right, unfortunately that day my son was going to see the GP anyway.
Yeah.
There was some hearing thing or whatever. So I said to my wife, Esther, how about, can I go and see this GP at the same time? She's like, well, no, why would you need to go and see the GP? So obviously, blokes being blokes, try and cover it up a little bit. And then before long, I had to actually say, this is the issue. And you need to go and see your own GP. So I managed to book in for that afternoon, went in there, and he suspected it was testicular cancer at the time. And then obviously, that's when you think, well, I'm sure he's got it wrong. Hopefully it's just a cyst or this or that. So you try and get yourself sorted, and then I went private the next day to try and to have an appointment, and then the private guy said, I'm sure it's just something and nothing. So I went to see him. He did an examination. Went straight through to paid for a proper scan on it and everything. Had the scan, and then the scan guy was pretty certain, unfortunately, this is the case. This is what it is. And then within just I think it was 10 days, the diagnosis was, okay, you booked in for an operation to have the testicle removed, and it's like all these things that are being thrown at you.
Wow.
And so it is shocking, and it's like, oh my God, you're just not prepared for it. And fortunately, the mental strength from business and athletics, you draw upon that, and then you say, right, I need to get my things in order, because you don't know how serious it is, you don't know what the situation is, and you're still sort of half hopeful that, whilst they may be removing the testicle, it could be still something or nothing, they take it off, and then you could still get a good prognosis from it. So anyway, 10 days later, had the operation, and I went in there really positive. All right, let's get it sorted, let's get back on it, let's get back training. And so I went in there, and then they had the operation. The operation was a little bit of a disaster because I was very dehydrated. The operation was a lot delayed. So consequently, I woke up in a bit of a bad way because they also had to change the medication because I'm allergic to a few things. So I woke up in a bit of a bad way. But 10, 15 days later, I felt not too bad again. I was moving around and ready to train again. And then at that point, I had the diagnosis come through because they'd done the research on what the testicle showed, and it had 2 types of cancer on the testicle. both very aggressive. And I think at that point I was just like, oh dear, this is really not good. And then I had the scan, had the full body scan to see, because what you don't want to happen is for it to have spread beyond there. That's why if you find out early, you must go and check it, because once it's spread, it can become a lot more of an issue to sort of treat and everything else. So anyway, I had this full body scan, and they found out I had it in a little lump in my pancreas, a little lump in my lung. And then they said, well, let's just have another scan in a month's time, and we sort of see where you're at. So I went on holiday, thought, yeah, I'm sure it's nothing. I was really positive, and then came back and had another scan, and they said, yeah, unfortunately, it's spread into both your lungs now on both sides. And yeah, it's not looking too great. And at that point, it's like, oh dear. And
dear. I think it's a bit more no dear, but it's not just that, is it? It's your wife as well. It's the people who are very close to you. For them, because
everyone goes through it. It's not just you; it's your whole family. That's why, because even if you're going through it, you're dragging your whole family through it. It's a really rough period for them. People can really break down, depression, this, that, and the other from it. So you do have to try and stay really positive and really focus on the really positive things in your life. So, like, we've got another baby boy on the way. So I was like, right, let's be positive about that. You do have to prepare things sort of for the worst. And I was like, okay, is the business in a good enough position? Should I not be around? Do I have to pass this on? Can I still cope with this? Have I done? You have sort of reflective moments. Have I done things right in my life? And all these sort of things flashing through your mind. And you're sort of preparing. Do I need to say goodbye? And you think, you think the worst sort of things.
Yeah.
And then you just sort of think, right, okay, once you've summarised all those worst things, you've acknowledged it, okay, this could happen, but I'm going to do everything I can to just get on with it as best I can. And then you get your treatment, diagnosis, okay, you're going to have chemotherapy. It's going to be over a 4-month period. You're going to have this, that, and that. And you're like, okay, you can do this. You've been through, some tough times, and, you can deal with this. And, so I just, refocused, and then it's like, right, okay, so started day 1 of the chemotherapy. You don't get any notes to say, this is what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. All it says is a bed is prepared for you on this day, and you're going to have 4 nights in hospital. And you're like, there's nothing more. And you're like, okay, what do I expect? And you get told what drugs you're going to have. But beyond that, you don't know. You have to sign all these waivers. If I die from this, if I lose that sense, or if I lose, if you lose your hearing a bit, or this or that, there's lots of you sign a waiver for in case things go wrong, and it can happen to a lot of people. But the worst part, one of the worst parts for me, I was at the Christie Hospital, and there's 4 people in a room, and so I went into this room, and you've got your little suitcase with you. And you don't really know what to expect. And there's a guy on diagonally the opposite side of me that I walked past, and he was in a really bad way, and he'd not eaten for 10 days, it turned out. His family was sat there crying around him, and then I'm just in the bed like 4 or 5 meters away, and you're just like, whoa, this is a bit of a reality check. And then that evening he got wheeled off to go and die in another room, and that's when you think, wow, this is actually pretty serious. And this is a process you're going to have to really just focus on to get through, and don't break down, stay positive. And then from that point onwards, I had to really think of anything work-wise, anything that's going on in my life, the smallest little thing, be really positive. And then 2 days after I got diagnosed with cancer, my brother got the all clear. So that was one of the things I was able to get onto. My brother said, look, if I can get through this, you're far fitter than I am. You can get through this. Just, be strong and just take each day, each round as it comes. And the first round of chemotherapy, I did find very grueling, because it's so intense, and all my face was really swollen. I put on about 8 kilos of just like fluids and liquids. And then one of the drugs, it's called cisplatin, which is one of them. It has a lot of platinum in it, so my ears were, started this really intense ringing sound that carried on for another 10 days, like really intense, like a car alarm going off in your head. You don't expect things like that. You're not prepared for those sort of things, and it's still bad now, but I've learned to sort of deal with it a bit more. But it's all these things, you don't really know what chemotherapy is, and you don't know what to expect, and you don't know how you're going to feel. And I tried to train through it as much as I could. So for the first period of it, I was still training sort of with my squad. Thought, right, if I can just train each Sunday and then just manage to do that every time, then that would be great. So for the first 2 cycles, I managed to either go out for a gentle jog every day or every day, and then did the Sunday sessions, and that was key for me. So trying to hold on to the things that are the norm for you. And active recovery, I'm a big believer in active recovery. I don't care how ill or injured you are. Active recovery, the body is designed to move, so let's just move with it. And I carried that whole process on up until cycle 3, and by that point I was pretty much floored, and the best description beyond there was sort of incapable. I just couldn't really get out of bed, and you're deciding, do I need to go to the toilet now, or should I try and hang on another 15-20 minutes? And my poor wife was after me, looking after the baby boy, trying to run the business, look after, just make sure I was well fed. And you have all these things going on, and then obviously the coronavirus all kicks in, and so you go into hospital. It was just a really tough time. But I found out just 4 or 5 days ago now that I actually got the all clear. So just amazing news, and I'm just so positive just to be. I don't ever take my health for granted now, and if I've had a little bit of a cold. At one point, my immune system dropped to like 0.2, and at that point you have to have injections in your stomach, and then so what happens, it starts secreting white blood cells from all your bones, and it's a fairly painful process, but your body's sort of recovering. And there was another guy going through the same thing, and his dropped down to a similar one, but he got a little cold and ended up in A&E with it, intensive care. So be it coronavirus or a little cold whilst you're on chemotherapy, you can die from it, and you need to be aware of those sort of things. But the positive side there was that now if I get the slightest cold, I'll bring it on. A cold, I can cope with a cold. I love it. I'm so happy, no problem. So little things like that you're just like, that's fine. Those sort of things you're happy to have now. It's a completely different story. Whereas in the past you moaned about having a cold or being a bit injured or whatever else. Now I'm like, yeah, I can deal with that, no problem.
Well,
so, yes,
I think that's what it is, isn't it? You've come from, this has opened your eyes, hasn't it, to the way, like I'll complain if I get cold or if I get injury, but for you now, you've gone to that next level where that's nothing now. You can deal with that easily. And people do have issues when we get injured. We have all disappointments in life, but you've got to a very, very high level. And to be honest with you, I think it's probably helped you massively to get through this, being an athlete and being as fit as you are.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned about the active recovery, it's that side of it that you rely upon to keep your body moving. And as I mentioned, unfortunately, another nice guy that I met, he started his treatment at the same time as me, and we both had the call on the Friday. Unfortunately, his is still not cleared, and he still has problems with it. And another guy that I met, they're stopping his chemotherapy. So, I'm not saying being fit does help you. It must be genetics, and there's lots of other varying factors, but I'm sure there is it must help in some way, being fit and being able to get through these things. And your health, you can't take it for granted. Without your health, you've got nothing. You need your health to be happy ultimately. And and a lot of us, like you say, we moan about little injuries, little niggles and whatever else, and we are all these master athletes, hopefully watching this, that are effectively elite athletes, because if you can train 3 times plus a week, I class you as an elite athlete in the Masters, because it is hard to do, and to get through those things is remarkable. And I take my hat off anyone over 35 that's still able to turn up and make the start line each time. It is an achievement in itself.
Yeah, definitely. And as we touched on, you've come from the M35, you've just come on to being 40s. It was amazing because we seen you in the Masters Grand Prix on, I think, February the 8th or 9th of 2020. And I just couldn't believe when you were there, because obviously I knew what was going on. I was like, wow, this guy just, puts everything on that, just loves to compete. So now we've had fabulous news, and I'm like delighted for you, because no one was happier than me when I got told this. I had a glass of wine on you, Rick, when I found out. we celebrated, me and Lucinda celebrated, because it was such great news and relief. I'm sure lots of other people on there, it was such a relief. So going forward now, what's your forward thinking, forward planning from now?
Well, I started back at the track already, or trying to, and to be honest, like you said, I am super keen, as you know what I'm like as an athlete, and I've probably started a bit too quick, and after just a few sessions I've ended up with a little tear in my calf. But, you know, it's probably a message saying, right, Rick, just slow down, let's get the whole base sorted properly. So it's a blessing in disguise. I started my strength and conditioning, and fortunately I've got some weights and things at home, so I'm able to sort of start my strength and conditioning and started back on the circuits. And these are all things that I used to do comprehensively until I just sort of ran out of time. But yeah, moving forward in terms of my goals, everyone has got dreams, whether they're realistic or unattainable or attainable. I mean, mine, I still want to run sub 49 indoors. That's what I believe I can do, and that's my focus in January. So,
you know me, Rick. I'm only saying no because if people don't know, I actually hold the British record for 400 metres indoor at 40. So in one way, but you know what? It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So the record's to be there to be broken, Rick. So you put the training, and the world record, I think, is 48.9, I believe. So I imagine you'd be looking at that.
Yeah, 48.96, isn't it? So my best ever is 48.8. So I really got my work cut out. But I have run 49.0 several times as a master. And yes, I'm right. Let's not leave any stone unturned over. Let's have a good go at this. And I'm dedicated from now until January to try and get that world record. So
yeah, and I suppose you've got another athlete that could inspire, being Jason Carty.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Jason obviously has come through something similar with his lung issues, and that was really inspiring. But I mean, a lot of the masters, doing all different events, do inspire me. Obviously, yourself included. It is amazing seeing what the other athletes are doing. So, right, okay, you know, seeing what they're doing, hear what they're doing, and it's like you're never too old to sort of learn from other people. Yep. And I think even before I started the Masters, you know, you came down and showed me a few different drills to sort of try. And, you know, listening to Jason on one of your recent interviews and hearing the sort of thing he's doing, and then looking at some of the, you know, the technical side of things, like, you know, what TJ's doing and all the other Masters, even the global ones, what they're doing. So, right, okay, I can take that from then, I can try this from there. And you have to sort of know what works for you, but implement some of those sort of ideas you know, from other people as well. So, you know, it is interesting, and you know, we are all as one, if you like, all the GB Masters, and we are a team. So it's nice to be inspired by all the others, and you know, I do love it and do thrive on it, and all the different track events. I know we're all often rushing around. How's this going? How's that going? And sometimes don't get to see other people compete, like Louise Rudd or Donald or whatever. It's up, but you know, you can watch it back when it's on the internet and whatever else, but you're trying to catch up and how's this going? And it's awesome. It's a lovely atmosphere going to these champs, and I've loved every single one of them. I guess my main problem is often at these championships, and I could do a bit, well, I try and be 10% better than everyone else because I'm normally stuck on a stand flogging all the gear, which makes it a bit harder. But yeah, God loves a challenge, don't they? So
definitely with yourself, Rick. I've known you for years, and you're definitely one of them guys who love to challenge yourself. So we're going to talk about business because not some people will know, some people won't know. But Dragon's Den, you made a Shakespeare. Yes, there we go. And that Dragon's Den was very successful, but obviously you do with the British Masters kit. So you're still dealing with the British Masters kit, trying to move that on. I know you've got some great discounts on that if people want to know. And also just have a little talk on Shakespeare as well. That'd be good.
Yeah, so obviously I was on Dragon's Den back in 2017, and that was on the day after I got married. So that was stressful in itself. Trying to move it all forward, and then we've got a lot of pressure from the Dragons. Right, you need to sign this contract, you need to do that. And it's like, look, we're getting married tomorrow. Just try and calm it down, and but it's just another pressure thing. How you deal with it, how you cope with it, and I thrive on pressure. I thrive on stress. It's what makes me tick over. And over the years, be it sports creative or Shakespeare, I've had a lot of pressure, I've had a lot of stress, and I've learned how to deal with it, and it helps in the call room, whatever. But yeah, going back to Shakespeare, obviously I work with primarily Tage, and you know, he has been helpful in offering his business knowledge, etc. And now we're in 22 countries, and we're going from strength to strength. I mean, we did a recent order for a Japan client. We did 50,000 units. We sold that in just 24 hours.
Wow,
it was crazy.
That's amazing. So the business is looks like it's growing. Brilliant.
Yeah, it is growing. Yeah, we're expanding to, I mean, even just this morning we were expanding to Korea. We were launching into Taiwan soon, and many other places, and it's just so exciting. The hardest thing for me with business is, so sometimes I'm up at, probably not everyone knows this, but sometimes I'm up at sort of 4 a.m, dealing with Asia, China, all these things that are very important. Speaking to the factory, make sure they're doing their due diligence, making sure it's right. Product testing, making sure the shakers aren't leaking, etc. And then we've got a lot of things going on, a lot of new product development. So doing all these things, managing all the clients, and then you work right through the Asian timeline, through Europe, and then our Scandinavian clients. And then towards the end of the day, I'm working with the US and Canada, and it's like I finish work at sort of 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'm not saying I'm sat on the computer from 4 a.m. to 11 p.m. It's not the case, but I have to be still switched on. And sometimes between reps, which is not always a great thing, I might be checking my emails, quickly getting back to someone. Sometimes I know my friends have been warming up, I've been on a call. And so every time I go to the track, it's like, right, I've got a short time frame in which to get the most out of my body. So I think, right, smash it, put yourself on the floor, and then crack on. So I tend not to leave a session until I'm on the floor, and that's just how I train. If I'm here, like I say, wife and child waiting at home, and I'm busy and everything else, all right, let's just smash it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes I do get injured. And I think last year my preparation was really good for Poland, and my weight was coming down nicely. Everything was just in place perfectly. I was very light on the strength and conditioning, and my conditioning overall was not great, but my speed had just started coming through. And I remember I did a timed split for like 48.2 indoors, and 300 1 minute 100. It's not most accurate, but roughly where you're at. So I thought time I should be able to run sub 49 off that. And unfortunately, about 4 weeks out, I got a hamstring tear. So I did everything I could to try and get over this hamstring tear. And then just before I left to go out to the champs, I got very ill. And things like that, you just can't change. And I probably did overwork and everything else. But I would rather try and do my best in everything than nothing at all. And my sort of philosophy is, as long as you try your best in it, then it doesn't matter if you fail. Just have a go.
Well, you're not failing, are you, Rick? You're not failing if you're having a go, are you? That's me not failing.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to say, a leaf out of your book then, to anyone who's watching this, they've got no excuse about training. If we listen to Rick Beardsell and you're going, you're up at 4 a.m, you got this, you've got a family life, you've got many commitments in your life apart from the traffic, but you'll still put 100% in on what you're doing. So time is not an issue. It's about managing your time, isn't it? That's what it is. Time management.
Time management, yeah. And like my coach Steve Ball has been fantastic. He understands what I'm going through, and he knows when I'm tired, knows when to pull back, and some do need to listen to him and do need to say, right, okay, perhaps I do need just to calm down. And we've got a great squad of athletes, the No White Flags squad that have really helped out, and even Mr. Neil Houston's helping me now. I'm trying to get back on track, and it's been brilliant training with him again. He's hoping to try and get into the maths and stuff. So, everyone in life has commitments, but you have to say, you can make time for it. And, at the end of the day, people, are happy to lie down and watch Netflix or this, that, and it's like, okay, what would you rather achieve? Not many people achieve things just by watching TV. And, I don't really watch any TV, to be honest. So, you need to prioritise. If you want to be the best at whatever you want to do, then that needs to be a primary focus for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think nothing comes without hard work, as we well know. Hard work, commitment. The only thing I'd say to you, Rick, as you're getting older, once you get into your 40s, everything gets a little bit tougher. But I always say probably 43, 44, then your body needs... I think as you go through the years, you need to adjust your training to suit your body. Mm-hmm. And I think you'll find that out as you go on in years to come, and you'll have that driving force. Because one thing I like about the Masters, in your 40s, you've got new challenges. When you come up to number 45, it's amazing. Masters are the only people that look forward to getting older. So when they're the new age group, the 45, they're like, 45, 50. There's always new challenges, and that's what I love about the sport in that regard, that you've always got new challenges. So are you training with a training group at the moment, or are you just keeping it more low-key?
No, I mean, I've just started back, and then obviously we're not allowed to use the tracks yet, but for me, I'm trying to isolate as much as I can. Obviously, I don't exactly know what my immune system is like at the moment. I think it seems to be back okay again, but I'm trying to avoid going to busy parks, out for walks, all those sort of things. And as I mentioned, my good friend Neil, he lives above the Chocolate Longford Park, so I can use this in a safe environment. I do my circuits here, do my runs, and as mentioned, do my runs at home. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to training with the squad, but we're not actually back actively training yet. So, realistically, it's going to be, I don't know, maybe July, August. So, we'll have to wait and see.
Would it be a bit of apprehension for you there? Because obviously, with your immune system being as low, would that still be a bit of frightening for you, training with other people so closely, even in July, August, maybe?
Well, obviously, I'll sort of take my precautions, and I probably will try and stay away from people. I mean, at the start of the pandemic, I was doing that when I was doing the Sunday sessions anyway, where everything was still a bit relaxed. I would just say, look, I need to be 2 meters away from you, be it because I'm on chemotherapy or this virus, I can't go near you. So I was just trying to make sure I sort of got sectioned off from people. And then, I think it's being sensible. So if you're at the track or whatever you're doing, just take a couple of meters away from people for as long as you can. And then we'll just sort of see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, the good thing is, Rick, we're going to keep an eye on you, because I'd love to do another interview later down the line to see how you're progressing. So, okay, and I see obviously you've got no hair now, which is a little bit of a difference. So
I've got no hair anywhere. My eyebrows, losing my eyebrows, all underneath my eyelashes have all fallen out. So, that's just part of it. And even that is like, because that's what's actually doing me a favour, because that's the chemotherapy working. It's not the cancer, it's the chemotherapy doing that. Yeah. And as I mentioned, I had 2 types of cancer, and they were both very aggressive. But because it's so aggressive and it's spreading all over your body so fast, it's easy for the chemotherapy to attack it. Whereas if you've got the slow cancer, it's very hard to be treated. So again, it's a blessing in disguise. So no hair.
I would never say I'd never say a blessing, Rick. I would never say a blessing in disguise, because anything like that is just not a blessing. So for me, I think you've been awesome. You've been strong, and all your family supports you. You just been immense for the people around you, not just for yourself, but everyone else. And it's great to see you back training again. It's great to see you visually. I know you'll get a lot of support from the Masters, because we are one community. Is there anything else you'd like to say finally about the interview, or anything else you'd like to say?
No, I mean, I think the thing is that, I mean, if we perhaps just touch on, like I mentioned, preparing for sort of a championships, etc. And obviously everyone's preparing for different events. Yep. So I think, while obviously you've got the pandemic thing still, but I think it's quite important for people, as we've all seen, that the events keep changing, where it's going to be, what's happening and stuff. So rather than just lounging around now and saying it's okay, no one else is training, just try and keep ticking over, because the longer you leave it when you're not training, the harder it's going to be coming back into it. And obviously, like others, having to start from ground zero again. Yeah, it's a good challenge, but for everyone else, you don't need to get yourself to be at that level. If you can just keep ticking over, even if it's just some core stability, a bit of circuit training, anything like that. There's obviously loads of videos online, and I've seen a lot of the Masters are doing videos and things, so they're all inspiring, doing all their videos. So just see what they're doing and try and have a go at that.
Yeah, because just thinking about with you, it's like a lot of it is mental stuff, isn't it? If you keep ticking over, you feel like you're doing something, whereas if you don't do anything, you just feel couch potato, and you're thinking, I think you go down worse, don't you? You don't feel too good about yourself if you don't do anything.
It's just keeping moving. Like I said, we're designed to move. We're not designed to sit on our bottoms all day. So let's move, let's be active, and let's smash some records.
I love all the positivity, Ricky. It's brilliant talking to you, and I hope out there they take something away from this interview. Slightly different, but it was important to get the issues out there, and it's brilliant that you've come out here and you've said this is what we need to do, and hopefully some people will listen and take away some good advice from your good self.
Thank you, mate.
All right, cheers, mate, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers.
Bye bye.
Love you, Darren. Bye bye.
Bye bye.